In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to remove something from your image using Photoshop. The areas that I'm going to be removing: this rock here, this man and his dog, another dog here, there's a couple of people over here, this tree as well. And I'm going to be using a few different techniques, but I'll be specifically concentrating on the clone stamp tool, the patch tool, and the ContentAware Fill. So I'm just going to get rid of those marks. So first thing I want to do is duplicate the layer, which is Control J. And then I'm going to concentrate on the easier places to remove first, and then kind of build on that. So we'll start with this rock. You can zoom in, you can click on your zoom tool here. We'll zoom into this area. And then I'm going to press L on the keyboard for the lasso tool. And we're going to select this rock. And for this area, we're going to be using the ContentAware Fill. So you want to go to Edit, ContentAware Fill. And how this works is these green areas are what are going to be sampled to fill this area. So we don't want obviously part of this tree here. So you can see that's on minus, the sampling brush. So we don't want that part of the tree. We just want, this is the grass, to fill that area. So what I like to do is try to sample the areas that are nearer to it, because what you have to be concentrating or conscious of, shall I say, is the existing focus and sharpness in the image, because you don't want it to fill with something that's blurry or vice versa if that's not how it was in the image. But I suppose that area was or is in focus, so you want to make sure it kind of stays like that with the sampled areas. So I'd say, let's see, so obviously this is your preview here, it's already looking quite good. Yeah, I think that looks fine. And then over here, opacity 100%, your color adaptation we can keep to default, and then rotation addition, I might actually just put it on medium. Let's see. Yeah, actually that's not, actually no. I actually liked the none. I'll keep it without. And then make sure it outputs it to a new layer, and then click OK. And then we'll deselect, Control D, and we'll zoom into the area as well. See how that looks. So before, after, that actually did quite a good job. So now what I'm going to do is concentrate on the dog over here. And actually, as you see, I'm using the move tool to obviously navigate the image. Press your space bar down and then click, and you can kind of go around like that. Just a FYI. Okay, so with this, we'll create a new layer. So you can either obviously press the plus sign, or you can go Control, Shift, and N for the new layer. And for this area, I'm going to be using the patch tool, which is, I think it's, yes, J for the keyboard shortcut. And this tool, I suppose it's not ideal because it literally copies and pastes. So it's literally one part of the image on top of the other. But I think in this instance, you could get away with it because it's only a small patch. And I suppose like if you're zoomed out, you wouldn't really notice. But you can always clean it up afterwards with the clone stamp tool. So I suppose it's just to even give you an idea on the tool itself what it does. So obviously I've drew around the dog there. So I let go. And now you're going to click and drag to what is going to paste there. Now I think I'd say around there, and then I'll let go. And then what I'll do is I'll actually clean this up now with the clone stamp tool. So you want to go over here for the clone stamp tool, or you can press S on your keyboard and then have it for current and below. So what you'll do is you'll sample an area. So you'll hold down Alt. For instance, I'll sample this area and then I'll click. And actually when you hover, you can kind of see the preview of what you've just sampled, and then I'll just start painting. And then I'll press Alt, I'll sample this area. I'll just paint it around here. And yeah, so obviously you can spend a lot more time than I am, just to give you an idea. So yeah, so that dog's removed. And I'm going to use the clone stamp tool for this. So we'll create a new layer, which is Control-Shift-N. And obviously make sure you've clicked on your stamp, clone stamp or S. And what I'm going to do, so obviously you want to sample an area, hold down Alt. So for instance, it's good to kind of sample from the areas that are near it, instead of kind of like, sampling from up here and then pasting that down. So I think I'll sample here. And a good technique I like to do is I'll go Alt and then I'll go 1, 2, 3. So I kind of do it in threes. And then I might go Alt and then I'll click 1, 2, 3. I find it kind of blends a bit better. And then you can obviously change the hardness. This is, I suppose, strictly kind of what you think yourself. I'd keep it around 43. We can change this later on. So I'll sample this area. I'll go 1, 2, 3. So Alt, 1, 2, 3. Alt, 1, 2, 3. Alt, 1, 2, 3. Probably be wrecking your head. I might have to speed up this video, just so you get the gist. Yeah, so that's that removed. So before, after. Obviously you can spend a lot more time than I did. But yeah, that was all from the clone stamp tool. So the next area I'm going to concentrate on is this guy over here. So again, I'll be using the clone stamp tool. So first we'll do a new layer, Control, Shift and N, press OK, and then S for the clone stamp. Actually, I'll zoom in a bit more, so Control and plus. And what I'll do is I will sample, say around here, hold down Alt. I'll go 1, 2, 3, the usual saga. 1, 2, 3. Sample around here. Actually, I might change the hardness. Yeah, put that to 37. I'm going to actually put the hardness down. Increase the brush size. You can either right click and change the size here, or you can use your right square bracket to increase, and then to decrease you use the left square bracket. That's actually beside the enter key on your keyboard, in case you're looking. So I'll sample here, I'll hold down Alt and I'll brush down. Now, so what I'm going to do with the rest of this is a bit different from before. I'm going to basically be copying half of this doorway, flipping it and then putting it on this side and then tweaking it. So first I want to merge down all my layers, Control, Shift and E, and then I'm going to replicate the layer again because it's always good for safety. So Control J, duplicate, and then now I'm going to go over to the Marquee tool here, and that's M, and I'm going to select about that much, and I'm basically going to be creating a copy of that. So I'll go Control J, and then I will go Control T, which is to transform. I'm going to right click, flip horizontal. So now you're going to kind of cover the area. Now what I'll do as well to help line it up is I'll turn down the opacity so I can kind of see where the lines meet. Now as you can see, it's a slight curve, so I might need to rotate this a bit. So when you see those, you know, those arrows there, you can kind of see as a curve. That means rotate. So probably go like that. And then I'll also press down Shift and I'll drag to kind of tweak it some more. So it goes more into it. Let's see. And same with here. Let's say about there. Press Enter. I'll put the opacity to 100%. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a layer mask onto this, which you can hold down Alt at the same time as clicking layer mask. So what this does is it blocks out that copy of the side that we just did, and then you want to obviously reveal that, so you'll paint white on top of the black. So black conceals, white reveals. So you want to get your paintbrush tool, which is over here, or B for the shortcut, and you want to change this to white. So you can click on these arrows here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to paint white where obviously that guy is to get rid of him. So you're obviously you end up revealing. So as you can see, actually I'm going to put the hardness up a bit. Actually, I'll just put this a bit smaller here. And paint away this side as well. Get rid of him there. And like for instance, if you want to erase an area, you actually do the opposite. You paint black to bring it back. So look, see? And then obviously go back to white to reveal it. Actually, I'm going to change the hardness again. Yeah, so that's actually, let's check this line. This doesn't look that sharp, does it? But yeah, obviously you can take as much time as you want on this. But yeah, it's just to give you an idea. And then I suppose you could do more details, like for instance, like it's obviously more darker this side, and I make the presumption that that darkness kind of continues on down, because obviously the angle it is. So you can obviously add in that sort of stuff as well. So I suppose I'll give you an idea. I'll go Control Shift New, do a new layer, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sample this color. So I'll press I to sample the darker area, and then I'm going to paint on. Actually, I'll turn, let's see, hardness. I'm going to put the hardness down all the way. Actually, no, say 13%. And then we'll just put a bit of that colour there, just so. And then, let's see, I'll just turn down the opacity. Yeah, now that's not perfect, but you know, you catch me drift. Just to give you an idea, so we have that guy done. So we've obviously got rid of the dog, got rid of the two people there, and the stone from here. And then we want to get rid of, I suppose, the man and his dog. So you want to zoom in then to the dog over here. Click on the zoom tool. And then press L for the lasso. Or you can get it up here, lasso tool. And then you want to make sure you're on this layer, on the actual image layer itself, to select it. So I'm going to zoom in again, Control plus. And then L lasso, and I'm going to select around this dog. Don't forget the shadow. Now, so with that selected, I'm going to go to Edit and ContentAware Fill. Now I'll just zoom out here, Control minus. So as you can see with these green areas, it's basically saying, like the rock as well, it's using those sample areas to fill obviously that area of the dog. So again, I suppose you don't need these trees to fill that area, you just purely need grass. So I'll even get rid of him. Get rid of this here, because that might be a bit too sharp. Again, you're best to stick to areas that are going to be in the kind of ground of what will look less obvious if you do it to the areas that are nearer to the dog. Let's see, so you can obviously preview it there, like it's doing a really good job. I think they updated this. There was a different ContentAware. I think they still have it in Photoshop, but this is the updated one, and it's a lot better. A lot better than the other one they had. Oh yeah, we don't obviously want the ground to go there either, so we'll get rid of that. And you can zoom in. You can use this tool to zoom as well, just to make sure. And then go back to the sampling brush, B. Actually, you don't want that man's leg either. See, I might bring some of those areas back. You can go plus. Just get some of those as well. Yeah. And then what you want to do over here, make sure color adaptation is default, and rotation adaptation, that's none. And then you output to a new layer. And then go Control D to deselect. Let's have a proper look. So before and after. And then again, if you want to clean up some of the areas that don't look, that kind of maybe look too repetitive, or I'd say this area looks a bit like it needs a bit of cleaning, you can obviously create a new layer, Control Shift N, and use the clone stamp. So I suppose it does all the heavy lifting for you. So I'll just, actually, will I select this area here, continue it down, maybe a bit grass at this area, and go 1, 2, 3, Alt, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, but yeah, you get the idea. So now that we've done the dog, we're going to concentrate on the man now. So with this man, I'm going to think of it as, I suppose, 3 sections. You've got this section of his feet, obviously on the ground. You've obviously got the grass section, and then you've got the sky section. So I'm going to do it in, say, 3 parts, kind of. So I'm going to start off with his feet. I'm going to click on this layer here, the image, and then zoom in. And in this case, I'm going to use the pen tool. So that's P on your keyboard. And then I'm going to click all these points down. Make sure you include the shadow. And I'm going to right click, make selection, press OK. And then I'm going to go Control, Shift and N for a new layer, because we want to obviously put the clone on a separate layer. And then S for the stamp tool. And we're going to just be cloning again. So I think I'll sample this area. So hold down Alt, click, and go 1, 2, 3. Maybe this area. 1, 2, 3. This area. 1, 2, 3. Sample this section here. 1, 2, 3. Because one thing you have to be really careful on is repetitiveness. I suppose that's the whole thing of it. If it looks like it's too repetitive, sample another area. Okay, let's see over here. Okay, I'm going to deselect, Control D. And then again, I think you need to clean up this area a bit more. So yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, that's not bad. And now the next area, I'm going to concentrate on obviously his body. And with this, I'm going to do the ContentAware again. So I'll click on the image and I'll use the lasso tool, L, and obviously I'll select around here. And like for instance, look, you see I've gone into his shirt. I'll tell you how to actually get that back now in 1 second. So I'm just going to go around here. So I need to obviously get that shirt back. What you can do is, if you hold down Shift, you'll see that plus sign there. And then if you keep it held down, and then kind of draw again, that brings it back. And then you also can do the opposite. When you hold down Control, you can cut away. Actually, is it Control? No, sorry, it's Alt. If you hold down Alt, that takes away. So Shift is to add, Alt is to take away. So we'll just say, let's have a look at these areas here. Yeah, so again, what we'll do is we'll click on Edit and ContentAware Fill. Zoom out. So with this, we don't need the sky to cover them, that's for sure, so we'll get rid of this. And we don't want the trees either. We don't want the path. We don't want the dog either. So you can obviously see this preview here as you kind of brush this away, it changes. So again, we don't want the path. And then over here, just do default, color adaptation none, and then new layer. And then Control D to deselect. Now you can see that didn't do really a great job there. But I suppose again, you can clean that up with the clone stamp. So Control Shift and N, new layer, and then press S for the clone stamp tool, and then sample an area. I think I'm going to put the hardness up a bit more. Actually, what did I do there? And let's see, so I'll clone stamp this area. Nah, turn it down. So you'll kind of flip between the hardness as you go. Maybe over here. And again, be careful on repetitiveness. Actually, this needs cleaning up here as well. But yeah, you could actually spend hours on this. But I suppose I'm just showing you for the tutorial. So yeah, I suppose that'll do for now. So now what we'll do, actually I'll have a look at that there. Does that need? She might clean that part there a little bit. But yeah. Okay, so now for his head, what I'm going to do, I'm going to flatten all the layers. So Control Shift and E, duplicate the layer, Control J, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to press M for Marquee, or it's over there, and I'm going to sample this area, I think, and go Control J. So I'm going to use this for obviously his head. I'm going to turn down the opacity, because what we're going to do is kind of try line up the hill, and then I'll rotate it a bit. Rotate again. Put it a bit down. See, yeah, I think there. Press enter, and then put the opacity 100%. And now what we'll do is we'll put a mask on it. So hold down Alt and then click on here for add layer mask. So it's like what we did with the other section up there. We're going to obviously paint white on it. So white reveals, black conceals. So you want B for your paintbrush. Make sure it's on white. Hardness, I'm going to have 13%. And I'm just going to actually the flow, I'm going to put that up a bit higher, otherwise we'd be here all day. And then again, look, this sharp edge, you can get rid of that. Press X to go back to black, and then paint it again. So yeah, that looks pretty good. So we've removed everything. We've just got the tree now to get rid of. So now you want to go to the Marquee tool, and we're going to sample, or shall I say copy, an area up here so we can paste in front of that tree. Let's think maybe here. Oh, actually make sure you do that on this layer, the image layer, and go Control J, and then Control T for transform, and then right click and flip horizontal. And then we're going to be lining that up here. I'm just going to zoom in, Control plus. Don't forget your move tool is the space bar when you hold it down. That's really handy. And actually we'll turn down the opacity, zoom in some more just so we can get this lined up as best as we can. Yeah, so say about there. And then I'll turn up the opacity all the way. And then again I'll be adding the layer mask. So you want to hold down Alt at the same time as click and add layer mask. And then again we're going to be painting white on top of this to reveal what we have underneath. Make sure, yeah, that's on white. Let's see, hardness, I'm going to put 0. Maybe zoom in to get more detail. Get rid of that. But yeah, I might speed this video up. Yeah, let's see it so far. I think I'm going to clean this area a bit. It looks kind of obvious. I'm going to use the clone stamp tool, new layer, S, and I think I'll just sample this area, and I'm going to turn down 60 flow, 50%. Just so it looks like it transitions a bit better there. So now we're almost there. I just need to get rid of, I suppose, these areas here with the shadow of the tree. And what we'll do here is the clone stamp tool again. So you want to go Control Shift N, and we're going to work on each area. So I'm going to zoom right in. And let's see, hardness, say 35. So I'm going to turn up the opacity all the way here. Flow, 91%. But yeah, you can play around with these sort of things. So remember, Alt, 1, 2, 3. And I might even speed up this part of the video as well, because this is going to take a while. And there it is with everything removed. So if you want to see the before and after, there's the before, there's the after. So it just goes to show the power of Photoshop, But now I can still see a few bits that could do with a bit more work. I'd say here, possibly this area here. But I suppose this tutorial is more so to give you an idea, and obviously you'll spend a lot more time on your images. It's just to obviously give you the tools and the techniques. Hopefully you've learned something today. And also what I'll do is I'll provide a link in the YouTube description to this image, so you can actually try have a go yourself as well at doing it. So I hope you like the video, and also I do Skype one-to-one editing sessions. If you're interested, you can go on my website for more information, which is www.shaunafaganphotography.com. Cheers.